Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. I'm Cody the Coin Raptor, here to provide you some excellent crypto news, information, and give you my overall thoughts on the market. And in today's video, I want to talk about a $30 billion research investment firm that's going to be offering new Bitcoin spot ETFs. I also want to go ahead and talk about Changpeng Zhao as well and the Reddit IPO. There's going to be some absolutely fantastic news coming out for Bitcoin and for crypto. So stay tuned. But before we get to that, be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, be sure to hit that share button, and be sure to follow me on X as well. That's where the most up-to-date information comes from. These videos are usually a couple of days apart from each other, so there are some things that I miss in between the recording of these videos. So check out my X page, link in the description to get the most up-to-date information. So first, starting off with Bitcoin. Now, what I have here is, in blue, a liquidity level. Okay, you can see here at about almost close to where it is right now, about 50,500, down to support down here at about 50,000. Okay, so Bitcoin right now has been on a little bit of a decline the past couple of days. We've seen nothing but selling pressure push the Bitcoin price down from about 52,000 to about where it is right now, about 50,500. Now, if we take a look at the liquidation heat map on the weekly, we can see here that it's kind of sandwiching between two levels of liquidity. This top end level here is about 50,000 or about 51,500. This is almost $500 million worth of short liquidity. And then down here we have about 50,500 and almost $600 million worth of long liquidity. Now, the reason why I talk about this is because if Bitcoin breaks below this support right here, 50,500, it is going to dump, and we're going to wind up seeing it retest at the absolute minimum 50K right here, okay? Now, we go below that level, we can see it possibly go all the way down to support at about 49K or so, and then we'll see basically where things will wind up. But we need to see these two support levels hold. If not, Bitcoin is going to be in trouble. It's gonna dip even further, and it's going to be heading probably down to about 48, maybe even down to 48, 47K. Now, again, putting this in the grander context of things, Bitcoin has been on an absolute tear the past couple of weeks, and we've seen it go from a low of 39K all the way up to about 50, 51, 52,000 or so. And any dip I am looking to buy personally, but so far I'm still waiting for a large enough dip, and so far we haven't had that yet. Bitcoin has given us no opportunities to buy the dip since the beginning of February, and I personally am waiting. I am being very patient, and if Bitcoin does break through those levels, I will definitely be looking to get back in or increase my position sizing anyways. I have not sold any Bitcoin whatsoever, and I will make a whole video about it, and I will tell you guys about it. And so be sure to watch out for that. But any buying or selling I do a Bitcoin or anything like that, it's going to be posted on my X account. So definitely make sure you guys follow that. That way you can figure out when I'm buying, when I'm selling Bitcoin. But again, so far I've not sold any Bitcoin, and I have not bought since the huge drop that we had back here in January. So I've still been waiting very patiently. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, I also want to go ahead and talk about the dollar index as well. This is the strength of the dollar measured against other currencies. Now, the reason why I want to talk about the dollar index is because the dollar index is important and fundamental to any commodity like Bitcoin. So what we're seeing here right now is dollar index failing to break out at about 104. I think it's going to come down and retest support here at about 102. So if it comes down, I think that's actually going to be very bullish for Bitcoin. And ideally what you would see is it would come all the way back down and retest support here at about $100. That would be very bullish for Bitcoin. And I also want to go ahead and talk about Bitcoin dominance as well. So dominance, this is Bitcoin's share of the crypto market. We're seeing here that it's had difficulty breaking out at 54%. It's made multiple attempts, 3 attempts here to actually break out at 54% and has failed. But I do think that going towards the halving, we're going to have another opportunity to possibly push past this point, 54%, and move even higher. The halving is about 2 months away or so, so there's still plenty of time for it to actually make that run and take over a larger share of the crypto market. So let me get on to one of the big stories of the day, and that is the Reddit IPO. Okay, Reddit is filing to become a public company. All right, the social media platform Reddit, and they have disclosed in one of the recent filings that they have actually invested some excess cash reserves in Bitcoin and Ether. Okay, so very interesting to note that with Reddit has actually been on the forefront of a lot of crypto adoption. And if they get approved for this IPO, they will be yet another company, publicly traded company that owns not only Bitcoin, but Ethereum as well. All right, so that is, I think, very important. We're starting to see more adoption, basically like dominoes. The more public companies that own Bitcoin and Ethereum, the more public companies that are likely to put these assets on their balance sheet. Okay, so if you guys are curious, they list this all here on their incoming form that they filed with the SEC. This is the form S1. Okay, so next I want to talk about what's going on with Kraken. So Kraken is filing to dismiss this SEC lawsuit. You guys remember that Kraken was sued by the SEC. Okay, Cointelegraph coming out here and saying that Kraken's trying to dismiss that case, and essentially the whole point here is that they're trying to poke holes in the SEC's theory of what is a security versus what is not a security. So the SEC basically came out and said there can be an investment contract with no contract, no post-sale obligations, and no interaction at all between the issuer and the purchaser. And essentially what that would do is it would turn a broad range of ordinary assets or commodities like sports memorabilia, trading cards, expensive watches, or diamonds into securities. So basically what they're saying here is that if the SEC classifies these as securities, then that label can also be applied to ordinary assets such as watches and trading cards and things as well. So that would put them under a different regulatory landscape. Okay, so we'll see if Kraken will actually succeed in this. And I think that if Kraken does win this case against the SEC, this would be, I think, very bullish for crypto and especially very bullish for Kraken as well. Ever since Binance US kind of went down, the number of options of where to buy Bitcoin and crypto has kind of diminished quite a bit, and so we need some additional competition to Coinbase. We can't just have Coinbase as the only option for people in the US to buy crypto. So I'm going to be watching this story very closely. Now I want to go ahead and get on to the big story, and that is that Bitcoin Magazine here is reporting that the $30 billion RIA company, the investment advisor Carson Group, is going to be offering the Bitcoin spot ETFs to their clients. So that includes BlackRock, Franklin, Templeton, Bitwise, and Fidelity's ETFs. Now, if you'll notice, there's no Grayscale Bitcoin Trust on there. So it's very interesting to point out here that this Carson Group has $30 billion of assets. Now, even taking 1% of that, you're looking at a significant portion, and say even taking 10% of that, you're looking at $3 billion of potential inflows into these ETFs. And I think that just like I was talking about earlier when we talked about adoption and public companies holding Bitcoin, then having more of these investment advisors that are pushing Bitcoin spot ETFs to their clients, you'll start to see a domino effect in which you see even more of these investment firms that get very interested in pushing these Bitcoin spot ETFs to further clients. Okay, so this is how adoption starts. It starts very slowly and then it speeds up, almost like a parabolic move. Okay, so we're still at the very beginning of this, though. $30 billion is significant. And I do expect that they're going to wind up increasing the number of people that are interested in these ETFs, and that will further drive the price even higher. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is what's going on with Changpeng Zhao. So Changpeng Zhao, the CEO, the former CEO of Binance, okay, he is in the middle of his court case right now. And essentially what's going on here is that the United States Attorney's Office requested that they approve additional travel restrictions for Changpeng Zhao, or also known as CZ. They're trying to basically keep him from going anywhere outside the country. They're trying to get him to surrender his Canadian passport and his other passports to the United Arab Emirates, basically trying to keep him in the U.S. ahead of sentencing. And this is going to be very interesting to find out what exactly they wind up sentencing him for. And I will definitely keep you guys appraised of this story. Now, remember, the whole reason why this is going on is because CZ pled guilty to not having the correct anti-money laundering program in place at Binance. So it's one felony count so far. We'll see how much time he gets, or if he's required to pay a fine, or what's going on there. And I will keep you guys updated. Definitely recommend you guys check out the story on Cointelegraph. Next thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin on exchanges. Okay, the exchange reserve. The exchange reserve, we've seen a huge decrease in the number of Bitcoin available in the exchanges. In fact, over the last month, we've seen about 56,000 Bitcoin leave exchanges. It went here from 2.1 million all the way down to about 2 million, about 44,000 or so of Bitcoin. And we're starting to see the demand really start to roll in for Bitcoin. Now, what's interesting about that is, as I've said before, the price really has just gone sideways. And I do expect that eventually this is going to act like a coiled spring in which you see the price will eventually shoot back up again as the demand grows and as supply on these exchanges shrink. But for now, we're actually looking at the lowest level of Bitcoin on exchanges in this recorded history for crypto quant. It goes all the way back to 2021, and we've seen just a steady move lower and lower and lower and lower. There's just not a lot of Bitcoin available on exchanges. And in fact, if you take a look at the miners reserve, the number of Bitcoin in miners wallets, you can actually see that over the past couple of days, it's actually gone up. So normally, miners have been selling ahead of the halving, and they're actually starting to fill up their wallets a little bit more. But for the most part, over the last year, they've been selling pretty consistently, and that's been one of the reasons why Bitcoin has been under a little bit of pressure, especially over the last month or so. You can see here that they've had some spikes, but for the most part, it's been trending downwards. And so they've been emptying all the Bitcoin on their wallets, and they've been sending that Bitcoin to exchanges to be sold. But we're starting to see kind of a balancing out of that. And I do expect that this will level out, and we will stop seeing the miners sell as much of this Bitcoin in their wallets. All right. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about the Kraken case. If you think they're actually going to wind up winning this case against the SEC, or if you guys are excited about the Reddit IPO, definitely interested in hearing about that. Leave a comment below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.